Two of the biggest names in sports crossing paths this week, so to speak. You had Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and you had LeBron James. It all stemmed from an interview by Zlatan in Sweden, where the interviewer asked him about LeBron James, and Zlatan was very complimentary, said he's a big fan, and then, unsolicited, he went on and said, I wish, let's get this, do what you're good at, stay out of politics. People of his status always feel they have to chime in on everything. Needless to say, it got back to LeBron James, and LeBron responded, I will never shut up about things that are wrong. He would go on, and he was well equipped. He was abundantly clear about everything Zlatan said, and he was ready to hammer it back. He even said it himself. He does his homework, which he did, bringing up an incident where Zlatan, in an article a few years back, said he sometimes felt out of place in Sweden because his last name wasn't Svensson. It was Ibrahimovic. That's a story you want to hear, that Zlatan didn't feel comfortable. That's important to share. But what you take away initially is hypocrisy from Zlatan. And that is something nobody likes. And hypocrisy is something that has followed Zlatan his entire career. And it's not pretty. I will say something on behalf of Zlatan. He said the political takes. And when LeBron responds with what he's done in his community, which is second to none, he has helped a lot of people. He's changed people's lives. I really don't think that Zlatan was taking a shot at that. I really hope not. It can't be. He was more specifically at the political side, but unfortunately for him, it all gets taken in here, and you have to deal with the consequences. Baron Davis scathing back towards Zlatan, who used to play in LA for the Galaxy, said, don't come back to LA. People love LeBron. LeBron, people wait for what he says and they follow. He is as influential a person we have on the planet right now. And I don't mind his political takes. I'd rather hear from him sometimes than our politicians who are terrible. They're not looking out for us, are they? So sometimes you look for other people's leads. Now, LeBron does talk about he posts when something big in the political spheres happen, you look at Twitter, you look at social media, and LeBron will have a commentary. Again, which is he can do, and I welcome it. We want to hear from everyone. I know there are some political takes he has had that he's probably regretted, or in hindsight. For instance, when the NBA was coming back in the bubble, the reports were he was pretty outspoken. We should not continue this season. It doesn't feel right with everything that's happening in this country. Well, the NBA pushed forward. The Lakers and LeBron won the championship. And by pushing forward in a safe environment, they showed they could do it. They salvaged a lot of things financially, which is good for everyone involved in the NBA. And while there were layoffs everywhere, maybe it limited that and people's livelihoods, so it was good. And it was on the shoulders of guys like LeBron James who were in that bubble for the duration. It mattered. It mattered. I truly, truly believe that. And it's allowed them to start their season and become a profitable entity and bring that back to the people that need it most, the players and everyone affiliated with the NBA. Now back to Zlatan. This is inane. We mentioned the hypocrisy. Again, it came off a couple weeks ago where he had an exchange with Romelu Lukaku, and they got in each other's face. Lukaku, a black player, and after an exchange, Zlatan could be heard saying, go back to your voodoo. Lukaku did mention a while ago that he went to voodoo, to these doctors, to see if it could help him with what he was dealing with at that time. But with racial undertones, you just don't go there. And Zlatan normally can get away with these things, but he's learning now you can't. And he has really complicated his life. He's really disappointed people because it was unsolicited. Why go there? And now he has to deal with it. But I am going to finish it by saying this. As a ridiculous stance as it was, who cares what these athletes think? They can have their opinion. They are citizens. Everyone can have their opinion. Who cares? Maybe LeBron James I would have liked him saying, I don't care what he says. He can do his own thing. And I think that would have done it. But here we are. And something to talk about. Okay, quickly to the United States men's national team. It hasn't been a great week on a lot of fronts with the players. John Brooks didn't start for Wolfsburg. They still got a clean sheet. What's going on? But as we go through the list, 3 players from the core group knocked out of the Europa League, and that's disappointing because you want to see them get more games. Brendan Aronson, Chris Richards, Tim Weah, that would have been a valuable experience. Brian Reynolds at Roma, we don't know what's going on. Last we heard, he went back to the States to deal with some things, but he has not even appeared on the Roma bench, and it's getting a little bit impatient. Yunus Musa, who was a star when the U.S. got together and played Wales and was it Panama, he hasn't been playing that much for Valencia. He did start their last game. They lost to Getafe, but prior to that, he's become a bench player, so he's coming off the boil as well. Christian Pulisic, it's getting better after looking like hopefully rock bottom for him as he can get back on the saddle. Came off the bench in Chelsea's Champions League victory over Atletico Madrid, came off the bench in their tie with Manchester United over the weekend. But all of this, and no matter how many setbacks for lack of, Jordan Morris, the injury, things that you go, oh, well, it's not working out. What is happening for the U.S. is their depth is going to get them out of some binds from time to time. They're getting depth everywhere. Let's talk about the forward position. Who would be that number 9, whatever it is? Well, there are options, and you figure one's going to hit. Daryl Dike has continued to marvel in the English Championship with Barnsley. He has played in all 5 games. He has started 3 of them. He has scored a goal. They love him there. They've won all 5 of those games. They've moved up to 7th, just 1 point out of the playoff spots. Josh Sargent, after starting every game, finally got on the scoring end for Werder Bremen as they beat a really good Eintracht Frankfurt team. Almost had a second goal, which was ruled off for offside. But you see what's happening here? You have guys that the competition is going to make this team so much stronger. This was a big week. You had the AGMs for U.S. Soccer. They're talking about their schedule, host cities for 2026. Very exciting stuff. And also a couple friendlies here in March. We don't know on the 25th. They're playing Northern Ireland in Belfast on the 28th. I love that matchup because, Northern Ireland, we've seen they've developed their program. They're tough, no nonsense. You'll see a certain style there that you can take out of that. So all this is happening, and remember, Major League Soccer hasn't started. They're not going to start till April, and some players are going to come through there as we get ready for the busy summer. So you talk about the forward position, you have competition. If Yunus Musa maybe takes a step back, there's Brendan Aronson to step into that position. By the way, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, they have been lock solid. You do need guys that you can pen in to the starting 11. I think McKennie and Adams, and the latter has been playing a lot now, starting a lot of games for, I think it's 7 of the last 8 games for Leipzig, who are now in second place in the Bundesliga. So if you look around, options, European-based, don't forget the American-based ones as well. It's going to be very cool. Speaking of very cool, next week, I will premiere the Soccer O.G. podcast. Check it out. I'm very excited about the format. I'll have different guests to join me who want to take me on as an OG. Eric Krakauer of BN Sports will be the first. This is going to be fun. Check out where all podcasts are available. Make sure you subscribe to the Soccer OG here on YouTube, where we can always have our conversations.